Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Your Daily 5 presented by StockCharts TV. I am your host for today's show. My name is Grayson Roze. I am the Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com, as well as the author of Trading for Dummies and Tensile Trading, the 10 Essential Stages of Stock Market Mastery. It is so good to be back with you. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on the show. But what a week to do it. As some of you may have heard, yesterday we hosted a major event here at StockCharts on StockCharts TV live. This was the introduction of StockChartsACP, the future of technical analysis. Now, for those of you who haven't heard, StockChartsACP is our brand new interactive, full screen, real-time streaming, advanced charting platform. Now, it's a complement to SharpCharts, our legacy tool. But this really is kind of the future of StockCharts technology, the next generation of StockCharts technology. And so yesterday what we did is we did a major launch event for the new charting platform. This was Chip Anderson, our company founder and president, David Keller, our chief market strategist, and myself jumping on there to host you guys live. And we brought on a long list of incredible technicians. This included John Murphy, Ralph Acampora, Martin Pring, as well as a lot of our new plugin partners that we've been working really closely with on StockCharts. Now, this includes Arthur Hill, Dave Landry, Mish Schneider, and Larry Williams. I mean, an incredible list of technicians that have just been doing this for so long. Some incredible names in the business that are really with StockChartsACP, with these plugins, bringing their work directly to you. It's an extensible platform. We talk a lot about that in the presentation. So anyways, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows, go check out the launch event. We recorded everything. We put it up on our YouTube channel. The easiest way to get there actually is through stockcharts.com/new. That's our What's New page, which is a great way to follow everything that's coming out on the site. But definitely be sure to check that out. Go watch the launch event. It's an incredible collection of interviews and demos and tutorials, plus a special announcement from Trader Brokerage, our good friends at Trader Brokerage, who are powering the new trading integration through StockChartsACP. So anyways, lots to check out there. I wanted to make sure that you're aware of all the fun stuff that we're doing over there with that event that we hosted yesterday. Now, of course, we got to dive into the action here with my Daily 5. Now, this is, one of my favorite shows that we host on StockCharts TV. I love the action. I love bringing 5 concise, powerful charts to you, 5 charts that I'm watching for the current market environment. So I have to start here with kind of a broad look. This is a multi-year look at 3 things. Vanguard ETFs, all Vanguard ETFs here. The first is VTI. Now, VTI is the total US stock market. We also have VT, which is the total world stock market. So we take all of the stock markets around the world, we bundle those together into one ETF. That's the black line. VTI is, by the way, the blue line here that you see in the top price panel. And then we have the total international stock index, which is basically everything without the US. So what we can do is we can chart these over a multi-year look. This is a 2-year chart, and we can see how each of these major sort of world tracking ETFs are doing. Now, we can see that over the last 2 years, everything is up. All 3 of those ETFs are up. But the leader, the clear leader, the blue line there at the top of the screen, is the US total stock market. Now, in the bottom 2 price panels, what we can see are actually ratio charts that sort of break this down a little bit further. What we can see here is VTI versus VT. That's the total US stock market versus the total world stock market. And what we can see is that over the last nearly 2 years, this relationship, even though the charts have been kind of, up and down, rocky, especially at the start of 2020 here, what we can see is that over the last nearly 2 years, the US stock market has been clearly outperforming the rest of the world, the total world, as well as the international index, the rest of the world, everything without the US. That's where we can see these 2 lines kind of trending higher, moving higher. The purple trend line there showing clear outperformance of the US. So what this indicates is that the US really is still the place to be. Now, even when we're seeing a bit of a pullback in the market, like in the last few sessions, the last couple of weeks, we can see that the US is still the place to be. This ratio is still moving higher. Now, Next up, we're going to jump into an interesting ACP chart. Again, now this is our new charting platform, StockChartsACP. You can visit that by just going to StockChartsACP, StockCharts.com/ACP. Start charting in that. But what we can see here is an interesting look at the S&P 500. So as of when this chart was clipped, we're sitting at about 3,300 on the S&P 500. Now that is decently off the highs, and this chart has a couple of lines to it. So I'm going to break it down for you. Now this thin red line here that we can see is the 50-day moving average. The thin dashed line in orange that you can see is the 100-day moving average. And the thin green line is the 200-day moving average. You know, those are all simple moving averages. But what we have here, so I mean, we can see here is the S&P 500 trading below its 50-day, but still has not broken the 100-day. That is still intact. We're still above those levels and still well off the 200-day, which is continuing to rise. Now, what you can also see on this chart is an interesting indicator that we've just added to StockChartsACP. This is a very big addition that we're going to be talking a lot about in the next couple of weeks. If you follow Brian Shannon of Alpha Trends, you're probably familiar with the Anchored VWAP. That is the volume weighted average price. Now, Brian is a big proponent of the Anchored VWAP. It is an incredible indicator. And what it allows you to do here with the Anchored VWAP is set a starting place for that VWAP line. So I've actually added 3 Anchored VWAPs to this chart. One from the highs at the very sort of start of the year. Now, one from the March lows, which is the red line. And then one from this sort of intermediate high that we put in back at the start of June. Now, what you can see here is that these Anchored VWAP lines are still intact. We have not broken any of these 3 lines, the thick green, the thick red, or the thick blue. What these are intended to be, in a lot of ways, they showcase sort of hidden support and resistance levels on the chart. Now, we can look a lot at just sort of standard price levels that you see, you know, previous highs, previous lows, those kinds of things. We can look at classic levels that we see through the simple moving averages or the exponential moving averages, sort of the indicators that a lot of people look at. But when we use the Anchored VWAP to set these levels starting at specific points on the chart, we can sort of detect these hidden support and resistance levels in the chart. So what's interesting to see here is that from the high and from the low, those Anchored VWAPs are still very well intact. But this sort of intermediate term high that we put in here on the S&P 500 back in very early June has actually been starting to act as a nice sort of hidden support level for the S&P 500. So I'm watching that really closely. I'm starting to learn more about the Anchored VWAP and incorporate it into my charts. I love following Brian Shannon on Twitter, especially at Alpha Trends. He is a great follow and someone that we're going to be working very closely with on the Anchored VWAP indicator as we bring it more and more into stock charts and especially ACP, but it is there now. So definitely go and check that out. It's a great addition. Now, speaking of other indicators that we've added to StockChartsACP, this is one that I've been looking at very closely. Now, this is a chart of QQQ, the NASDAQ 100. And what I've done here is added a couple of interesting indicators that we've just added to StockChartsACP. Now, if we look at the price panel itself, we'll start there. I've got an SMA ribbon. Now, this is starting at the 10-period SMA. This is adding 10 periods in each additional ribbon. And I've got 10 ribbons to form this full stream here. So what we can see is that the moving average ribbon is really intended to show sort of compressions in moving averages and expansions in moving averages. When you see these moving averages really start to compress, you know that things might be rolling over. The trend might be starting to change. Now, when we see a big wide ribbon like we've seen here, especially in the last couple of months, you know, that is relatively unprecedented. When we look back at this relatively long chart here, we don't see the moving average ribbon get this wide very often. So it's pretty interesting to see the moving average ribbon this wide. Now, we are starting to eat back into that. As you can see, we're pulling back into that. So that moving average ribbon might start to compress. That's something that I'm watching for. But it is interesting to see how stretched this moving average ribbon has become and really how long it's been running at such a stretched width. Now, in the top panel, as part of our advanced indicator pack that you can download if you're a StockCharts member, you can install this as part of ACP add these new indicators to your experience for free. If you're a StockCharts member, this plugin is totally free. What we added here is a new indicator called distance from moving average. So what this measures is a very simple look at how far we're trading off of whatever moving average level you want to set. And you can set the type, whether you want it to be a simple or an exponential moving average. So in 2 panels here, what I've done is I've set distance from the simple 200-day moving average, which is the top panel, and the distance from the exponential 200-day moving average, which is a little bit sort of faster moving average there. So it's interesting to drag this chart out, look at sort of a multi-year view and say, you know, how far off of these moving averages are we? Obviously, the 200 is an incredibly important moving average that a lot of technicians watch. What we can see here in QQQ in the NASDAQ 100 is that where we were just a couple of weeks ago at the start of this pullback, when we were at those all-time highs on the index, we were very, very stretched above both the simple 200-day moving average and the exponential 200-day moving average. And when we sort of draw this chart back in time, we can see that 15% is really a level where we start to get stretched on the simple 200-day, and 12% on the exponential is a level that we're really starting to get stretched at. We don't see anything above those levels very often. Now, we've been above that 15 level and that 12 level for quite some time. And really this pullback in QQQ has actually just brought us back down to those levels. And we're actually we sort of bounced off of it, and we're still trading above, you know, more than 15% and more than 12% off of the 200-day moving averages there in QQQ. So it's interesting to see really how stretched this index got with these distance from moving average indicators, as well as the moving average ribbon. Now, the next chart that I have up here is a breadth chart. And we're not going to run through all of the numbers, but the point here is that when I'm thinking about how to sort of dig into the indexes, how to dig deeper than just the main charts themselves, one of the key metrics that I go to is breadth across the major indexes. We're talking percentage of stocks above their 200-day moving average and percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average for these different indexes. Now, the top, the blue lines, that is the NYSE, the New York Stock Exchange. The green lines are the S&P 500, and the purple line is the NASDAQ. Now, what we can see, again, I've kind of dragged the chart back to show a longer term view. What we can see is that when we're above 50 on these breadth measures, things are pretty good. When we start to get below those 50 levels, that's where some concern starts to set in. And we are really flirting on a lot of these breadth measures. We're really flirting with those 50 levels, or on some of the measures of stocks above their 50-day moving averages, we've actually already broken below. So it's interesting to watch these breadth charts. This is one that I definitely watch closely, especially on a weekly basis. Now, I got to wrap up here really quick, but I wanted to leave you with one individual pick. Now, something that I love to do every Sunday on Twitter. I'm big on Twitter. If you want to go follow me at Grayson Roze. One thing that I love to do is put out a list of 10 stocks that I'm stocking, 10 stocks that I think are setting up nicely for the weeks and months ahead. So I put out this 10 I'm stocking list every Sunday. If you want to go follow me, this is just something that I do for fun as part of my own routines, part of my own analysis. Now, I'm giving you kind of a preview of something that you might see on there this next Sunday. This is Paylocity, PCTY. I love the chart of Paylocity right now, starting to test a breakout to new highs. We see this 150 level in Paylocity is really an important one. But strong high relative strength. I love to see that. And as it's testing relative highs, starting to outperform, we see the RSI not at overbought levels, so still some room to run there. Beautiful accumulation, though. Lots of buying going on in this stock, trading nicely above its key moving averages. And again, trying to break out to new highs. Price is key. I love to see that move to new highs. That is an ultimate sign of strength. And on the scooter, we have something trading sort of right in the 84s, which is a beautiful, beautiful level to be at on the scooter. So I am a big fan of Paylocity. I love to see that, and definitely one that you might see coming up on this weekend's 10 I'm stocking list. Now, that has been a whirlwind tour of 5 charts that I am stocking. Hey, Grayson Roze here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.